What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving, right? Um, if y'all can see the title, the question is, who forced you to take on the man's role? And I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, where I've been hearing it over and over and over again, and I've been wondering, like, okay, when somebody feels forced, you know, and what I've been hearing about the rhetoric about being forced, what's going on, Black Zeus, man? It doesn't completely make sense to me. And I'm not saying this to be like contrarian and all that, but I'm gonna just point, like, when they say they were forced historically, um, women was like, we were in slavery together, and I'm like, you know, y'all do realize black women were definitely enslaved with black men, but y'all do realize that black men were here like 150 years before y'all got here, right? You know, so that's a problem to not even know that part of history. Now the other part is this: it skips like from slavery until to like the modern day, and it doesn't make sense. Like it skips Reconstruction. Like we was in slavery together, so we were forced to be the men. And in Reconstruction, that really wasn't the case. Well, I can't say like black women worked. You get what I'm saying? And saying you wanted to work, and black women work, so that's taking on the man's role. But at the same time, saying something like, we like working. You know what I'm saying? Like we want to work. It doesn't make sense to us. It really doesn't. You got to excuse me for a second. I didn't go live on my computer because it was just glitching, so I just stopped that. That doesn't make sense to us. Like it really, really doesn't make sense to us, and I think it's problematic, just to say the least. Man, I didn't realize sunlight was that serious. Um, one of the things about the historical part about it is, you know, did you want to participate or not? Did women pick cotton and sugar cane and tobacco? I'm sure they did. But when you look at the history of even the slavery part, you rarely see depictions of women. You see more depictions of women doing things like taking care of the cooking and cleaning the house and taking care of like other people's kids and whatnot, like domestic duties. What's up, Ronan? Man, what's poppin'? And it's like it's no disrespect to that, but even that's how it's looked at historically. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm definitely sure that sisters were definitely working, and I think our women, as far as labor in this country, are far beyond other women of other groups. You know, we are made to take care of ourselves and families at a young age by their parents, family, society. The boys are usually babied, I have seven personal, and I get where that's coming from, but I'm asking who. You get what I'm saying, Deja? Who forced you? Like a lot of times, part of the problem is we say, "What's up, DC?" We say that they feel forced, but here's the thing. Like think about it. When a week ago people was talking about submission, and women felt like submitting to a man is kind of like slavery, right? But then turn right around and say you were forced to be in the man's role. But the men aren't the ones that forced you into being into the role. And that's a problem. Like I think just the part of that is problematic, is because when you say you were forced into a role, you weren't forced by the men. And it's a narrative that you were forced because this happened and that happened and men weren't around and men were abandoning their families, and now you were forced. And it's like, well, it's kind of interesting because and we fast forward to the modern time right now. You got these young ladies talking about, why can't you be like men back in the day? In my mind, when I hear it, I kind of think to myself, like, I thought those was the same men that abandoned you, the same men that left their families, the same men that left women destitute. You know what I'm saying? The same men. What's going on? Oh man, I feel you, Ronan. It's the same men who didn't take care of their kids, but you want these guys to to be like those old school guys that people's mothers and grandmothers gave them the narrative that this is how you were forced to be strong because there were no men around in my day and we couldn't depend on them. And I find that odd. Like it doesn't. Those two things don't go together. And I talked about this before when it came to um, the civil rights movement, the Vietnam War, and the drug epidemic were actually in the same time period in Black America in the 50s and 60s, right? Feminism too, like the women's rights and women's liberation, same time. And some of these things, yeah, no, I know what you said. I got that. Family, parents, and society. But what I mean by that is, for the most part, from a male point of view, when it's family, parents, and society, when you talk to people, when you talk to women, it's normally the female side of the family and the mother. It's not the male side of the family and and the father. Now I can't lie and say there are fathers want their daughters to get an education and take care of themselves. They are fathers who do that, and I very much so understand that. You know what I'm saying? That's a real conversation. But even those fathers aren't forcing their daughters to take on a man's role. They're telling their daughters to be self-sufficient or putting them in a space where they can be self-sufficient. You know what I'm saying? So that thing about submission, not submission, but being forced just doesn't make sense. Um, because what winds up happening is, like I said, when you say I won't submit to a man because it reminds me of slavery. But saying you were forced to do something, that's slavery, right? What's going on, Raiders? So now people are forcing you to take on a man's role. That's slavery, and it's like you don't. It don't make sense. 18. Okay, between 18 and 24 are unemployed and not in school. How can black women submit to this? Well, here's the thing. When they say 18 to 24 are unemployed and not in school, the problem even with that statement, all things, not a Gina, I'm guessing, that's still college age. You can be still, you're talking about 18 kids who would be in college age. Those kids could still go to school or go to a trade school. I'm talking about grown men and grown women who are out of school. You get what I'm saying? But I'm gonna get back to that part because, as you said, 18 to 24. You can still be 18. 18 still counts for being in high school. So that's a misleading statement. These guys from 18 to 24 unemployed. Well, the 18-year-olds just graduated. I mean, and in schools, some people graduate at 19. So it makes it. I get what you're saying, but the way I think about it, it's not completely. What's up, Afro? What's popping, man? Was it Ryushi? I believe most people no longer want to compromise. That's why we have no families. Maybe so. You know, you know, that is 45% of young men. 45%. No, that's 45% in Chicago. You get what I'm saying? You saying 45% in Chicago, as if that's Illinois. I grew up on the West Side. That makes no sense. But Black Zeus, I see SH, what's going on? Harambe, what's popping? So it's part of the narrative. Big Poke, what's going on? You know, that's the thing. I submit to you that word submit means communicate. I submit to those in authority. And those, yeah, but I'm not really talking about submission. I'm just using that part of the topic right now. I get you using it as an example. I was just responding to you. Mr. E, what's popping? You know, now the thing about that is the narrative. Like the narrative, like I was saying, is just backwards. You in this space where, you know, the men back in the day, they took care of their families. They were strong. They took care of their responsibilities. They was gentlemen. You know, the wives. Wives could just be at home, and then you say those are the same men that abandoned you. And it's like, now I know both do exist, and I'm not stupid enough to say I don't know both do exist. But the problem is, oh shit, the problem is when from a male perspective, when I hear women talk about this, they talk, you know, as if both. How can I say this? They talk as if they didn't, as both didn't exist when it's convenient. They'll tell you, I was raised by my mother and them to not depend on no man because they told us, that the men were no good, basically. And then at the same breath tell you, yo, y'all see y'all not like the real men back in the day. Like, do you realize it's a contradiction? You know, now, and that's the thing about the old, like, so which old school men were really in your life? Which old was the old school men that abandoned the family in your life, in your family, or was it the old school men that took care of their family that abandoned you? Because these men, for some odd reason, forced you to be in a man's role. You know, and the crazy part about it is the reason I have this thought process about this is when you say you got forced to be in a man's role, the women that raised a lot of these women, they were still feminine. Now they might have been mean, they might have been aggressive, but they still wore dresses, they still walked in heels, they still had manners, they still were homemakers to a degree. You know, yeah, grandmas born in the 1930s had a few baby daddies. Okay, but did those women still become feminine? Because when you look further and further back, what's up, Truck Turner? When you look further and further back, those women were still feminine. They carried themselves in a feminine manner. They weren't trying to take on a man's role. You know, and that's the problem. What's happening, Vern? Like, that's the problem. Dave, what's going on? I'm not even going to talk if the men are good or the women are good. It's just when you say you taking on a man's role, it's like, okay, so the man's role is what? To be a protector and a provider. So if you're taking on the man's role of being a protector, who are you really protecting? You know, like, who feels safe, like, because they're with their mom if something goes down? Nobody. Like, nobody. I appreciate that, DT. I don't know about all the consultations. I do this at the spur of the moment, so I have like a schedule I keep. But I really do appreciate that. Trent, what's popping? Man, everything's well, man. Uh, yeah, I was. It's a trollerific topic, but people don't think about, that taking on a man's role is you know, you forgot New Orleans, Third Ward. You forgot New Orleans. You hear me? Jewel, how you doing? But the other thing about that is this: it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because now you saying I'm taking on a man's role, and if you taking on a man's role, And I still want to know who forced you to. Did your mama force you? Did your daddy force you? You know, did your brothers and sisters force you? You know, because what if you're the oldest sibling, right? Well, I gotta be the man of the house. Like think about it. If a girl is the oldest sibling, you know, if the parents gonna say you gotta be the man of the house and forcing you into the man's role, I'm gonna raise you to be the man of the house. No, they gonna tell you you're the oldest sibling. You gotta take care of the people younger than you. But they're not gonna tell you to do it in a male way. Prophet, what's poppin', X? How you feeling? They're not gonna tell you to do it in a masculine way. L Boogie, what's going on? So who's forcing you into the man's role? If your granddaddy locked up, daddy locked up, uncle locked up, who's gonna be your protector? But see, and I'm glad you said that. This is part of the narrative. One of the brothers I was talking to on the panel a couple of nights ago was like, you know, for every now black men do have the highest incarceration rate in America. And it's like for every 100,000, he said it's 2,316 men that are locked up out of every 100,000. But that's roughly 2.3% of the black male population. So when if you're that upset about 2% of the population, even though it's greatly higher than the rest, Omega, what's popping, man? LaShawn, what's going on? You know, what about the other 97.7% of the black men who aren't incarcerated? That's a problem. Like, so the 2% that's in jail, you know, they're the reason why you have to be in a man's role. But the 97% that are not can't take up any slack. You know, that doesn't make sense. You know, it really doesn't make sense. I mean, and I can say, you know, per capita, we do get locked up the most. We are 50% of the jail population. But that is not that is the mind. That's even at that ridiculous incarceration rate, it is still the minority of black men in totality. It is still the minority. So what about the majority of the guys? You know, and but like I was saying, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because now, oh, I'm gonna go take on a man's role. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you really want to be honest, no black man asked or told a woman or forced a woman to try to even take on a man's role. That's not how we get down. That's why I say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you like, I can do it. See, I could do it. Watch, I'm gonna take on a role. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You know, I'm gonna be a man. Nobody told you to. None of the men told you to do that. If we're gonna say, oh, people want you to be grown and self-sufficient and be able to take care of yourself, I definitely understand that. But take on the man's role, nobody asked you to do that. You know, and the reason I'm saying this because what happens is a woman. I meet too many women. They got a job. I'm a man. No, you're not. Like, do you realize how silly it sounds to say you're a man because you have a job? And on the flip side, you say black women always work. So the black women who always worked, for some odd reason, until recently, didn't consider themselves as men. They consider themselves as working women. I feel you, Muhammad. And thank you. And Shada, thank you. Well, what's popping? Well. You know, but that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because you see yourself as a man now. You know, now, and the reason I say that is because you know what something happened that I saw that actually sparked this. Somebody I know is doing her thing, making money, and in that process, she got real masculine, right? And for some, I don't know what happened, but and the women around her in her little circle were like, "Yo, you know, hey man, what's popping?" You know, and the women around her were getting into that, you know, and talking that cis stuff and babe stuff and borderline. You know, she like a guy, so we're gonna treat her like a guy. She gonna be our boo bae, she gonna be the dude type situation. To the point she started telling the girls, no, 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 you know, I'm a lady. Like, no, no. She might be. I think she's too old to be tomboyish because she's definitely tomboyish. You know, Cleveland, what's going on? Turf, man, what's popping? And I'm like, but even she's telling women, no, I'm not a man. Like, I'm not gonna be a man. I don't want to be in a man's role. You know, and it's like, those same women change their whole attitudes. And yeah, I'm gonna get to that too, fam. I'm gonna get to that too. How they feminism told them that they can do whatever a man can do. Getting degrees makes women feel like they are above men when real men don't care about degrees. That's true. You know, and if you but if you want to take on a man's role and you feel like you can, the thing about it is okay, but stop saying you was forced. Just say that's what you want to do. Just say, you know, all things. It's not a gene. The the real question is, why are men taking on feminine roles? You know what? The answer is very simple. The same reason that women are thinking they're taking on manly roles. Mama. If you say somebody, even Deja said earlier, they baby the boys. Who babies the boys? Mama. Who masculinizes the girls? Mama. So mama forced you to be in a man's role, and mama babied the boy till he didn't want to be a man. But I'm gonna get to that though, because ironically that you know I have the little parts I'm gonna touch on this piece of paper right here. So this spills over into your dating choices. A lot of women who want to take on a man's role, you know who they can't date? Men who actually are in a man's role. So who do they date? Guys willing to take on the female role. Take care of me. You know, let me be your struggle babe. I look cute. You know, you think I'm fine, don't you? You know, let me give you some of this wood to ease your pain for working all day since you the man and the woman. Let me drive your car around. You know, is it the Democrats? Oh, I ain't see that, Omega. You killing me. Oh, step. I'm letting the chat go slow on it. Epic, what's popping, man? Rachel, that's what I'm talking about, Rachel. Where is the daddy? Because, like I said before, you probably got on here. When people talk about, damn, Vern Cleveland, Truck, Lord's a lavender type. That's funny as shit. You know, I agree, but when it lets improve how men instead of just women choose better. But and I'm getting to that, Rachel, because guess what? When we try to do things to improve the boys, the same mothers that told their daughters to take on a man's role and the same mothers that baby their boys to make sure they ain't man enough are the same mothers fighting, making sure that the boys become better. Ain't that interesting? Your man, what's going on? So when I'm asking who forced you, because as a grown man, like I said, when it comes to the dating choices, I hear women a lot, and I've been hearing it for years. You know, we ain't no real men out here. But if you actually sit and talk to them, they can't date a real man. And what I mean by that, they can't date a man who is the material to be head of household, who can protect and provide. They can't date that guy. That's the guy that they talking about. They can't submit to. Pick, man. Thank you, fam. You know, that's the guy who they can't somehow cooperate with. The guy that ain't really got shit going for himself, for some odd reason, she could cooperate with him because that's the guy that they were raised to, see he ain't no good. It reinforces you being in the man's role. The type of guys that these ladies go for. That the guys that reinforce, see these guys are no good. They gonna abandon you. They ain't gonna make this is, I want them with gold teeth and dreads. That seems street, but ultimately that's unemployable normally. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who's probably not going to be able to make a consistent amount of money or a good enough amount of money even in a short period to take care of family. Right. In all things, men are starting to wear nail polish, dresses, corsets, lipsticks. Some are changing their gender. I don't even like nail polish anymore. Guess what? Who don't haven't you seen these mothers put their sons in nail polish and try to put dresses and lipstick on them? But here goes another part of the excuse. Sure, the vast majority of black men are heterosexual. Once again, we talking about a minority of men. A minority. You know, but this is part of that self-fulfilling prophecy. Damn, this chat going slow, man. I gotta keep scrolling up, cause y'all, y'all commenting faster than this thing is moving for me. You know. Now, the reason, the part of that self-fulfilling prophecy is you're not gonna need a man. Blah blah blah. Self-fulfilling prophecy is okay. Well, you won't. Since you keep saying you don't need one, since you strong, you're independent. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. But who forced you to be strong and independent? Did the men say, I need you to be strong and independent? No, they didn't. Your mothers and grandmothers and aunts told you to be strong and independent. That's who quote unquote forced you. We're talking about a minority of black women being no, actually we're not. No, actually we're not. I mean, if think about it, when one of y'all brought up the 18 to 25 thing in Chicago, right? We recently read that article about what 1 out of 8 or 2 out of 8 black women are identified publicly as bisexual. That's on News One. We talk about the women being, more masculine and less feminine. That's not a minority of black women. And you know how I know? First of all, because I've been around the block enough. And second, because I got female friends that are feminine and they can't go out with sisters. And I'm going to tell you how bad it is. The feminine female friends I have, they used to say they didn't like going out because guys would approach them too much. Now they're like, shit, the women are worse. The women approach us worse than the guys do now. And if you feminine and you dainty, I remember one of my friends told me, she said, dainty is an insult nowadays. You call a woman dainty. And I was like, what kind of bubbly? I think it was bubbly. And I was like, man, that's crazy as hell. But, I came to find out what it was. Angelica, what's popping? Like that becomes a problem, And then you gotta ask, once again, who's forcing you to do this? Because a lot of times, I'm swearing people are just taking on these monikers and narratives to the point that they never ask who put this narrative on you. And it wasn't the guys. It really wasn't the guys. Because, when you meet guys who are responsible, and this is why I say this. One thing, I have met a majority of black women and talked to them. There was a guy who actually wanted to marry them. And he was a legitimate candidate. And they told him no. That's for the majority of black women. Whether they're hood, or corporate. Right? Truth be told, Rachel, you really don't want to know my ideas about 50-50 with bills because I think because of this, I was forced to be a man thing. A lot of ladies, you forced yourself to be going 50-50 with bills now. That's the thing. Like, I don't think some of y'all look at the other side of this. You don't look at the other side of this stuff when, the same black woman who told y'all gotta be strong and independent and not depend on a man, you gotta realize those same type of women have sons too. And what does that mean? Son, if she want to be all strong and aggressive, let her do her thing. Women don't like 50-50, and I don't think they do. But here's the problem: If you one of those types who was strong and independent and in a man's role, you talked yourself into this 50-50 thing. And I know it might sound cold, but guess what? What you want the guy to do? you know, he tried to take you out. He said, I can pay for my own meal. Okay, well, come on. I can go to my own house. Okay, I got my own car. Well, okay, well, damn. Okay, well, hey, I don't need you. Okay, fuck it then. You know, women tell another, yeah, women tell another one, it's like you and I won't. You're right. They can go easy. We can just take this the easy way or the hard way. Zeus, you crazy on that. The 50-50 thing, and I'm a back into it and say it like this. A lot of you ladies who were forced to be in a man's role, y'all gonna have to have 50-50 relationships because you don't know because you're gonna have to figure out why 50-50 relationships are not good. So when you get with a person who's actually head of household, you won't fight that because you fought for 50-50 relationships. So because guess what? I'm just like a man. I could do just like a man. I make money just like a man. I can have a job just like a man. I can get an education just like a man. Okay, no problem. Star, what's popping? I'm sorry. The female free Johnson. You know, now the crazy part about that, you're gonna have to earn being in a earn your way into being protected and provided for now because you fought to be independent and not need anybody for so long. Eric, what's going on? Yeah, you've been listening to Jeff, huh? you know, but this idea that somebody forced you, and I'm trying to figure out who. D-Train, what's going on? I'm trying to figure out who. Because this goes back to one other thing. Parenting. Because when you hear this, you know, y'all don't realize, like I said, it goes both ways. Y'all don't realize that. Man, it's good, Eric, man. Y'all don't realize it's going both ways. Because now these parents are like, do what you need to do. Because I got a son. And my son's mother has boys. She ain't really, if she had a girl, she would be far more strict on their education. She doesn't want her boys to really do anything constructive. She's not trying to give them any kind of information or guidance about bettering themselves. All they are is boys in a check. That's it. And I've seen, I was a latchkey kid. Some of the reason I chose the educational path I chose was because I had all the say so and no input from nobody. That cat, thank you. I had no input from nobody. It's like, man, what's going on? Well, what's going on is ain't nobody tell me nothing, so I'm just going on the subjects that I gravitate to the most. But nobody told me the financial part of this. Now I knew the financial part of being in school and what I needed to do to make sure it was cheap as possible. But as far as parents is concerned, as long if I don't make the NBA, NFL, mama don't care. Now as far as the girls in my family and in other families, oh, I'm on my son. Don't worry, me and my son tight. He tight. He tight. Actually, I'm the one that tells him about all the college stuff now. He's 13. I'll tell him about how it's going to go because I'm the one that graduated college. He didn't. You know, exactly. Exactly, Omega. So that's the thing. Like, the parenting is funny because the girls I know, they got all the resources. They was allowed to make all the mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Go to school, get your education. Don't depend on the man. We're gonna get you a car. We're gonna save money for you. We're gonna save your money. When they say they babyfied the boys, y'all don't really realize, you know, tired of being a stay-at-home mom. I want to go to work. Just like, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you're tired of being a stay-at-home mom, if your kids are over, in school now, it's time to go. I get, for women, I also get that, you know, Being around children all day takes away from your adult life because you're around children so much. But once again, what happens? This is part of being a mother, though. That's part of the female role, though. That's part of being a nurturer, remember? You get tired of being a nurturer for some odd reason. But then say that, you're a nurturer. It's kind of like it's a catch-22. It would be different if if women in general would actually say their complete truth or be completely honest with their actions, but that's not what happens. You know, I used to be a cute broke homosexual. Oh man, but that's a problem. I mean, that's a big problem. Thanks, Emma. That's part of the parenting aspect of it. You know, but people don't want to talk about that because you realize when parents raise the girls to be quote unquote independent and be able to take care of themselves, and they throw the boys just to the wolves basically. Hey, don't worry about all that. I got to get into these two things. When you feel like you were forced into a man's role, who do strong, independent, college educated, career women wind up taking care of when they get grown? They mama. Rollo, thanks, man. See, when they tell you forced to be in a man's role, some of y'all got forced to be in a man's role by your mama. So when you actually make it, you can take care of your mama. And the difference between you and a son is a, a son might get married and the wife ain't go. You got a family. You can't take care of your mama. But daughter could take care of mama forever. If a daughter get married, guess what? Daughter could be a mama's girl until death do they part. A daughter, it ain't looked at as bad when a wife is running back and forth to mama all the doggone time. But that's my mama. Aha. Oh, check out that bizarre relationship right there. You know, So when I ask who forced you to be in a man's role, 9 times out of 10 it's a woman who, at the end of the day, they need you. Tiff, what's going on? Do not or are not married or not expect their daughters to provide more than. Yeah, I mean, because I'm not saying this to be a jerk to the ladies or whatever. You know, Iman, what's going on? God's word, what's popping? Because here's the other thing about that. When these mothers have wind up being empty nesters, they don't like that. Mark, what's popping? You know, Sean, what's going on? Free Troy. You know, the mothers don't like divorced mothers and single mothers don't like being empty nesters. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't. Women should defer to their mothers for advice as men should be able to defer to their fathers. Yeah, you should be able to defer. I absolutely believe that, but um, don't get caught up in this rhetoric that you forced to be in a man's role by the same woman that you're gonna have to take care of. Because normally, even when fathers want their daughters to go get an education, be self-sufficient, get a job, have a career if that's what they want, dads ain't asking you to take care of them when 20, 30, 40 years old. Dad ain't asking you to do that. Dad ain't assuming that you're going to just be, paying dad's bills and buying dad groceries and buying dad gifts and, that's not going to happen. That's really not going to happen. You know, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's very much so improbable. You know, and thus, when an empty nest thing hits, you never understand that mom got more of a hold on you because now you're fighting men Like she's got you in a situation where she's really forcing you to be single so you can take care of her. Black YouTube fanatic, thanks, man. She's forcing you to be single with the ideology that she gave you so you can come back and be with her. Your mama should have girlfriends. You know, the girls, the ladies, they could still go wine tasting with the girls. But they don't do that. Marcus, what's popping? Mama don't do that. You know, mama used to go to church. So the empty nest thing, church, Bible study, choir rehearsal, you know, that was their way of getting out of that. That's not happening anymore. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. The mothers do that to the sons too. But if the sons wind up, this is part of the reason why I think a lot of these guys are effeminate because the old school women realized they saw, and man, if I let the boy grow up and be a boy and he run around, I got to make him a little effeminate to make him a mama's boy. Because in the '80s, it was fighting words to be called a mama's boy. To be a mama's boy, it was fighting words amongst boys. You know, somebody called you a mama's boy, you was ready to knock the teeth out of their mouth. You know, but as I got older, women, oh, it's okay to be a mama's boy. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Right. Dads who didn't raise anybody expect the kid. But nobody's going to take care of a father who didn't raise their kids. That's the thing. But people will still take care of a mother that didn't raise her kids. That's the thing that I got that's difficult about this topic. You know. So now when the empty nest thing comes on, here we got another problem that's going on with the empty nesters and the women who are in the middle of this stuff. You know, mama about to get her swerve on in Jamaica. That hedonism. So, for all y'all who don't know, hedonism is in Jamaica. It's the adult retreat park, where a lot of grown folks want to get their swerve on. And the kid, I think part of it is like a nudist beach. Don't think it's gonna be a movie because there's gonna be a lot of bad built people there who just want to get their freak on. You might be more turned off than turned on. You know, dad bod and granny bods walking around. Hey, I got that rum in me. No, don't do it. Oh, don't do it. Please don't do it. But that's the same thing that this is the rise of this mental illness. Archer, what's popping? It's the rise of mental illness. You know, why these ladies dealing with mental illness? Because you taught them that they had, they're forced to be in a man and be in a man's role. They don't deal with that properly. And then when they get in relationships, they wonder why the relationships ain't working. Man, what's going on? From Greece? Oh man. Salute to you, man. Glad you stopped by. The mental illness becomes real. Because I've met a lot of working women, corporate women, women in quote unquote management positions, who have mental issues because now they understand the stress of quote unquote the head of household man's role. They don't like that whatsoever. Even if they make the money, they don't realize how like nobody ever told them how consistent it's going to be, that the weight is going to be on your shoulders. Nobody told them that. That's why we have gender war amongst black men and black women. Too much feminine energy being pushed. Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah. Oh, drink, man. I don't even drink beer though, man. Well, I do it from time to time. Like the Heineken don't do me right a little bit. What's up, Kendra? So Kendra. The title basically is saying who forced them, who forced these women to be in a man's role. Because I don't remember the men telling these women we wanted them to be in a man's role. I just don't. That never happened. That's in my opinion though. Problem is most black women have to be the man in a relationship and job because majority of black men have identity crisis and have less ambition to be a whole man. Now Kavita, here's the problem with that. you're forced. You saying black men have an identity crisis? Black men ain't walking around like. Think about this. As if you're a black woman, there are vastly more black women who are heterosexual, who emulate men, than there are black men who are heterosexual who emulate women. That's not a black male identity crisis. I know it's all our fault, Kendra. You know, there's so many black. What's up, George, man? There's so many black women who, they can't even wear dressing. They can't comfortably wear dressing heels because it's just, oh my God, it's too ladylike. There are not black men walking around here, let me, what? Let me put some makeup on my face so I can go work at the construction site. Oh, I'm gonna kill him today, laying this foundation. It's not finna happen. Oh, no, no, no. Faith, I do see the gay guys out here, but I'm not even talking about gay guys. It definitely is a rise of gay guys. Definitely. But they're not straight men. Like, there are a lot of, think about this. There are more black women who are lesbian and bisexual than they are black men who are gay. And you're gonna see way more black women collectively in couple settings with each other, and y'all already running packs like y'all like women first, you know, yeah, and that's just part of females. Females like hanging with females. That's not a big deal, you know. That's not a big deal. Yeah, it's great, you know. It, no, no, it's not that black men are undercover. That's the thing. But you know, it's that it's more prevalent with the ladies. And the reason I talk about this part when it comes to this idea that you have to be in the man's role is, and I said this a long time ago. A lot of women get their educations, and a lot of women go to college, and this is where the feminist rhetoric and ideology really starts pushing heavy. This is when they're able to have open homosexual sex now is in college atmospheres. Then they get out of college and then they start flip flopping and flip flopping. And do I want to be a man? Do I want to be a woman? This year I'm dressing like a man. This year I'm dressing like a woman. You know, you know. I hate to break the news to y'all, and because I've been living in Houston for a very long, for almost 20 years. A lot of these Beyonce fans, uh, there are a lot of them chicks that are Beyonce fans that go both ways or just lesbians. That's very much so a part of her thing. And the reason why I said it because when Beyonce blew, a lot of the women in Houston just went to full blown I'm gonna be Beyonce mode. Every song came out, they had a new personality. When Soldier came out, they wanted thugs. When I'm independent thing came out, it was like I'm independent, like all the way until now. You know what I'm saying? Man, I ain't been out in Austin in like maybe about 8-9 years, man. I ain't gonna lie. Lacey, we ain't talking that shenanigans like that. Uh, but that's part of the problem. Because now, this is part of the mental illness of not really looking at the reality of it. Because these guys, and part of what I'm saying is also this. When you say you're forced to be in a man's role, and you meet a man who is definitely masculine, definitely a head of household, definitely a man in a man's role. I see you, Ed. You know, you right, Kendra. You right, but it is what it is. You know, and I don't know. That's it's gonna be some more letters in the alphabet. Lacey, I'm gonna tell you this one time. No, I don't let people just disrespect people in the chat. All right, if you want to talk and make a point, that's cool. But the little girl and this, that, and the third, the sneak dissing, I don't do that. I appreciate it. You know. Now, that's the thing about when I was talking about the mental illness part. Like when they meet guys who are actually, in this, straight black men don't have to wear makeup and dresses to have be 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 in their hearts. Most black men refuse to step up and be a leader, to lead for black women to look up to and respect and submit. See, here's the problem. I get what you're saying, but if somebody think, okay, let me break this down in this way. A lot of you ladies were told that you were gonna have to be the man when you were children. You were looking at boys who were preteens, like you were a preteen, as, you know what, I'm gonna have to be the man because James over here in fifth grade ain't gonna never amount to nothing. You got in high school, and that was the case. You got to college, and you kept doing that. Then by the time you became an adult, and then you got your first check, guess what? You all in now. You all in now. Edward. I know, but I'm just putting out there. You know, black men are Lacey. Black men are at the economic bottom, and nobody is stopping you to compete. And guess what? Economically, black women are beneath us. The same black women who are raised to say that you have to be in a man's role are still economically beneath the men, and don't want to deal with that. So obviously, even with raising these boys to be less than the girls, the boys still wind up being ahead of the girls. And it's not like, oh, because it's men and men's world, this, that, and the third. It's no. We have different roles, and we can like our work ethic actually outworks yours. That's what goes on. We have always had to carry the load because of our economic situation. I get what you're saying, Faith, but the thing about that carrying the load part is like, is to a degree it's disingenuous, because when black women say carry the load, um, back in the day, carry the load goes into, if she's single, she's still getting child support. If she's divorced, she's getting alimony and child support. If she's neither of those, she can still get government assistance. If she wants to go to school, she can get aid because she's a female. If and she'll have a family and a support system of men and women that'll help her through regardless. Even if she makes mistakes, even if she makes bad decisions. There'll be men who actually take her out and hear her story and be like, I help you out. I'm gonna take you out to dinner. I'm gonna take you there, have a good time. Oh, your kids might need some diapers. Oh, the bad black man did something. This, that, and the third. And even the women from back in the day, they had the same type of things and type of support system in place. So it's like, when black women carry the load, y'all forget how much help you actually been getting while you've been carrying the load. If you were to look at yourself and say, if I was to do these very same things as a man, would I get all of these benefits and advantages, and will have all of these people helping me? And the answer is absolutely not. But for over 40 years, been economically at the bottom. No, okay. And here's the problem. Truth be told, black people aren't economically at the bottom. Think about this. We just spend our money recklessly. You feel me? Tell me what that's the part of this, man. I'm scrolling because the chat just it stopped again. So Jesus, you know, um, black men paying child support and still have it. Yeah, I mean, soul to soul, I get them. What's up? That's like part of this is the issue. Like, come on, y'all. Like, we got to be real about a lot of things, man. TD Hutch, what's going on? Do women carry the load as far as parenting? Yes, but that's part of that's like, you wouldn't have to, for the most part, if you just share custody. Because truth be told, you don't have to have child support. You can always have shared custody by proximity. If a man and a woman have a child together, and they live in the very same school zone, so the kid can go to the same school, you could split custody between both households, 1 week on, 1 week off. But a lot of sisters don't want to do that. You know, people forget this. This is part of the reason why a lot of these women skip cities and skip states because it X's that out. It X's that out. Thanks, Black YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So a lot, some of this stuff is self-inflicted, and I'm not really trying to get on the women per se because, like I said, if you raised to believe you're gonna be in a man's role from a child to an adult, you're not paying attention to the fact that you're looking at your contemporaries as they're not going to be competent while you're seeing them grow. Like you're looking at guys next to you, seeing them be on the honor roll and get A's and B's and whatnot, and still say they're going to be incompetent. You're seeing guys who are generating incomes on the athletic teams and then going to colleges and still seeing them as going to be incompetent. You know, you are more in jail. Black boys are still felony. Right. Right. Black men die younger from. Yes, because black men have a harsher reality than black women, Lacey. This is why it doesn't make sense. If you now think about what you're saying. You say it's disingenuous, but black men are doing worse than black women, right? You are more in jail. Black boys are still failing in school. Black men die younger from various illnesses more than any other race. Now, saying all of that, but somebody told you you need to be in the man's role. So you need to put yourself in a position that's going to have you doing what? Going to jail more, failing in school, right? But that's black boys, but that's interesting. But dying younger from various illnesses. Don't you see black women are getting sicker and at a younger age and blowing up at a younger age? Aren't you seeing that? I ain't saying this to shit on black women. I'm saying this to see, have you ever thought about that you might have been sold some shit that didn't work well for you? You know, I feel you, Faith, because I do know of some shitty guys who don't want to do shit for their kids, but the vast majority of people I've come across do stuff for their kids. The vast majority. Now, you know, I'm not a, I'm not totally blind to the fact that there's a lot of fuck ups out here, but that's another thing that gets me. When you can't do some of you ladies consider these guys no good when they're in their early 20s and have a baby, when they're having a baby with a girl in her early 20s that's just as much as a fuck up, but she gets more help than him? You know, men don't have to take care of your own because, but here's the thing, like a lot of times, a lot of men don't have to work two jobs. Like men who do work two or three jobs, they do that. You know, they do. You know, and I appreciate you saying that, Kendra. Like a lot of sisters don't want that because to be perfectly honest, and I'm gonna say this for a lot of you women who are mothers, who have actual competent men as fathers in your lives, a lot of y'all financial situations would be a whole lot easier if you give your son to the father. I'm not talking about the daughters because you need to raise the daughters to be women, but the sons, because what happens with a lot of y'all don't realize this. You even if you get alimony, or child support, or whatever, it costs you more, even though you're getting child support, because you don't know what you're doing. You have no idea what you're doing. Because if you notice, no, Lacey, I'm not speculating, but that's part of that logic that women with the sentiment. Because Lacey, I don't even know if you're a woman. You could be a gay dude saying Lacey Thomas just being trolling. Like I don't even know if you're a woman for real. So this is why I'm not really tripping on that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of what goes on is a lot of sisters don't take into consideration that you know you might you don't know what you're doing with your boys, because a lot of girls for some odd reason, and watch this, a lot of girls have all these accessories as kids, and a lot of boys with their mothers, their clothes is messed up, they don't get haircuts on a regular basis, and it's they don't check their homework like that. And in the same household, and you can have a boy and a girl in the same household and have this going on, you know. But part of the reason I'm saying, but and at the same time, you forcing the daughter, telling the daughter she's forced to be a man. And I've seen these situations where you cater to your daughter, you lowball your son looks raggedy, and he's like the perfect image for you. See how your brother's working out. Look, but you doing a whole lot better. It's like, come on, you're setting people up for failure. You know, sign up for their own demise if they will find good a woman and live in honorable. But see, here's the thing, and I'm gonna tell you something, Kavita, that you're not gonna like to hear, right? What it looks like now is that rhetoric of having to be the man and the woman and being strong and independent bit a lot of sisters in the ass, and now that the shit ain't work out too well, now they looking for a real man, and now they ready to submit. And now if you could do everything and be Superman and save my life, I'll show you that I could be a real woman. And it doesn't, and that comes off very wrong and disingenuous. You know, very wrong, very disingenuous. And the problem with that also is this. One of the reasons I'm talking about this, do you know how many women in their 30s and 40s are just relearning how to be, or trying to learn how to be feminine and ladylike now? See, that rhetoric is killing y'all. That's really killing y'all. You're seeing more, as men get older, you're seeing more relaxed black men chilling, but you're seeing more discombobulated black women trying to find themselves. And why so many sisters trying to find themselves? Because they lost themselves because they was raised to think they was going to have to take on a man's role. And, you know, you're not a man. You shouldn't want to be, you know. New account. I got a funny feeling you a troll from the trolling, so I ain't going to answer your question. I just got this funny feeling about you. Derek Spinner, what's popping? You know, and that's the thing. Back in the 80s, early 90s, a lot of women were legit using. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But you know, this is part of the problem, y'all. Cause I always ask, who forced you? Like, when you ask these women, who forced you? Give me a. Was it your mom? Was it your dad? Was it your aunts? Was it your uncles? Because it wasn't society. Because it's ironic that society didn't force all these other women of other groups to be the man. You do understand that, right? Society didn't force that. You know, white women aren't forced to be men. Hispanic women aren't forced to be men in the man's role. Asian women aren't forced to be in the man's role. Even the ones that make the same type of bad decisions as black women, even the ones that go to school and get an education that's feminine or that's feminist, aren't forced to be the man. They don't have that rhetoric. All of these people aren't saying, I'm forced to be. Okay. How you just don't call in? I never had nothing to call in, fam. So that don't make no sense. You know, Houdini, what's going on? Miriam, what's popping? So if nobody else is, if no other woman on the planet is forced, if the whole, if you got the whole sisterhood together, but you the only one forced to be a man, don't you think somebody lying to you? Self-care, what's going on? I think you've been lied to. You've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. You've been led astray. You've been running up. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't my look. Women won't think they need who to. Okay, Lacey Thomas, answer me this question: Who specific did a black man? Did black men tell black women or force black women to be in a man's role? I want you to write a yes or no in the chat to that one. Oh, go and get your date on. I said, yeah, get it on, Faith, have some fun, and thank you. So I want to know that, Lacey. Did black men, how did black men groom you to force you and tell you, you know, we forcing you to be the man? I want to know the answer to this one. That's Leroy Thomas. That's cold blooded. You're taking all day, Lacey. I'm about to get out of here because I just finished cooking. You know. So I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds, sugar. you know. And when you see, because now you was long winded in your comments, so I'm guessing you long winded in the response. So that's why I'm waiting, you know. But a lot of sisters, y'all, this I was forced thing. Y'all never say who. Y'all never say who it is. But I know who it is. It's the women in your life. It's the women in your life. And the fact that you taking so long to respond right now, you know, that should tell you something. Because I just asked a yes or no question. Now, I'm telling Houdini, I'm snitching like Takashi 6ix9ine. I'm be up there. Houdini. See, Angelica. Yeah, exactly, Marcus. Even you got to look at that, huh? Like, damn. So and I'm not hating on you. I'm not trying to shit on you ladies or hate on you ladies, but I'm just saying what it is. Like, you know, y'all got to look at who giving y'all this rhetoric, because y'all gonna wind up just like them. And a lot of these women who told y'all that y'all was gonna have to be in a man's role, or no, were people who are alone and bitter and angry, and who can't get along with people. Not just men; they can't get along with women either. So what's gonna happen? And some of those people can't get along with their kids either. Meticulous, what's going on? So don't take on this rhetoric and wind up being 40, 50, 60, and you can't get along with men, women, or your own children because of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it's the reality that the men in our lives are at the bottom, aren't competing with non-black men for resources. It's reality, not rhetoric. Black men are at the bottom. Oh, so basically, you know, Lacey. I'm gonna call you Neo now, cause you dodging, you on that, it's the Matrix. I asked you a straight question. Now let me talk about it. No, chick, you think you slick? Did you want? You asked me a straight question. No, 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 no. Legend, what's going on? But see, you know, okay, that's fine. But if I'm at the bottom, okay. You see, you didn't answer the question, all right? And this, my friend Lacey, is why. This is why you're gonna always have a problem. Your mindset is gonna have a problem. Because instead of dealing with a straight question, because I can talk about that, you know, but since I asked you a straight question, you do realize it's women in this chat that see that you didn't answer the question, and you just basically went to black men ain't shit. You see that, right? You do see that, and this is what men are talking about. See, when if you're raised to believe that you can take on a man's role, how ironic that you can't stand up and say it with your chest when you answer the straight question. When somebody asks you a straight question, all of a sudden you ain't manly no more. But that's disappointing, but typical. Now I'm gonna get out of here, man. All y'all have a great night. The comments be killing me too. I be trying to keep up. That's why I be scrolling. But thank y'all for coming out. I do this from time to time. So peace, y'all.